One of the key factors in creating a clean and robust database is knowing what data you need to store and what data you can derive or create from other records. For instance, if we think about how a payroll database might work, the number we might be after is how much the employee earned at the end of a 2-week pay period. But will that dollar amount appear anywhere in any of their tables? Well, probably not. More than likely, a payroll database would simply include a record for the employee's hourly wage or salary, and then another record for the total number of hours worked on each shift. When cutting the checks, the payroll department simply adds up all the number of hours worked during that pay period, multiplies that by the hourly wage, and then gets the total for the check. By using some simple mathematical operations, in this case addition and multiplication, the payroll department is able to derive the value of the check even though it doesn't appear anywhere in the database. The design view in Access allows us to easily add some of these types of mathematical operations to our queries. Let's go ahead and create a new query in Design View, and we'll take a look at how this works. I'm going to go ahead and add the products table, and then close the Show Table window. Now, instead of adding fields directly from our products table, we can actually create information right down here in the design grid. For instance, in this first field, if I just type in the text "Hello World" in quotation marks, and then run the query, we'll see I get a column that all says "Hello World." There's a total of 47 records involved because there are 47 products in our products table. Let's go ahead and go back into Design View. I can go ahead and blank this out. I'll just press Delete here and close that drop-down box that it opened up. I can even type in numbers here. So if I just type in the number 100, for instance, and press Enter, run it again, I'll see I get a listing here of 47 100s. Let's go ahead and go back into Design View. Let's go ahead and blank this out. Now we have some mathematical operations that we can use here in our fields. For instance, if I type in 100 plus 5, and then go into the next field and type in 100 minus 5, and go into the next one and type in 100 times 5 with the asterisk key, and then the next one, 100 divided by 5 with the / key, and then press Run, Access will go ahead and evaluate all of those expressions. So 100 plus 5 is 105, subtracting 5 I get 95, multiplying by 5 I get 500, and dividing by 5 I get 20. Let's go ahead and go back into Design View. I'm going to select each of these columns and delete them, and a quick way to do that is to move to where you have this black arrow at the very top of the column, click and drag to select all of them, and then press the Delete key to remove all 4. Now there's actually 3 different kinds of division that we can use here. Let's take 100 and divide it by 12 the normal way with a /. Another way to do it is to use what's called integer division. So in the second column I'll type 100, and then I'll use a / and type in 12. This will be integer division. In the third column, I'm going to use a mode called modulo division. I'll type in 100, a space, the letters MOD and another space, and then the number that I want to divide by, in this case 12. Let's go ahead and evaluate all 3 of these. The first one uses the regular standard division. So 100 divided by 12 is 8.33 repeating. If I use integer division, that drops the remainder, so it just leaves me with 8. The modulo division, which is in the third column, only returns the remainder. So 100 divided by 12 will leave 4 left over. Let's go ahead and go back into Design View and clear these out. I'll select all 3 and press Delete. Now rather than just use static numbers, we can make these calculations respond to values in our data tables. Let's go ahead and add a few fields from our products table. I'm going to choose Category, Name, Power, and Footprint. And I'll just double-click each one of those to add them to the grid below. Now let's filter this so we're not looking at all of our products. I'm going to add a criteria here to our category that says we're only interested in our solar panels or wind harvester product categories. So I'll just type in quotation mark solar panels, or, and in quotation marks, wind harvester. End quote. Let's go ahead and run this query to make sure I typed everything correctly, and I can see the 21 products that are either solar panels or wind harvesters. Okay, let's go back into our query design view. Right now, my footprint category is showing me the size of this product in square feet. Let's suppose that I also wanted to see the size of our products in square meters. Let's first go ahead and add an alias to the beginning of footprint so that we denote what units this is in. So I'm going to type in footprint space SQFEET and then a colon. Let me go ahead and expand this open so we can see the whole thing. So the alias is footprint square feet, and the colon tells me that everything after that is where the data is coming from. So it's coming from the footprint field of the products table. Let's go ahead and scroll over to the right a little bit. And actually, I can go ahead and close the property sheet. If yours is open, you can feel free to close it as well. Now I'm going to go into this next column over here, and we'll construct an expression. To do that, I'm going to use the expression builder. Once again, we can right-click on it and choose Build to go into the expression builder, or another way of getting there is to press this Builder button up here on the ribbon at the top. I usually go through the right-click menu. I find it a little bit more convenient. So I'll choose Build, and that'll open up the expression builder. And here I can just fill out my expression. I want to take the value that's stored in my footprint field and convert it into square meters. So let's first start and find our footprint field. I'm going to go into my database, into my tables, and into my products. There, I'm going to double-click on footprint to add that reference up here to the top. Then I'm just going to go to the end. I'll go ahead and type in the asterisk character to multiply our footprint by the conversion factor of 0.092903. That'll convert square feet into square meters. Let's go ahead and give this an alias while we're here. I'll go ahead and click at the very beginning, and I'll just type in the alias footprint and then SQ meter, followed by a colon. So there's our alias here, footprint square meter, and everything after that is where the data is coming from. The data is coming from our footprint field multiplied by this conversion factor here. Let's go ahead and say OK and add that to our fields. Let's go ahead and add one more column here to our query. In this last column, I want to get a measurement of efficiency. What I want to do is divide the power output of each of our products divided by the square meter calculation that we just generated. Let's go ahead and right-click and go into our builder. Here, I'm going to start with the alias. I'll go ahead and type power and follow it by a colon. Then we'll go ahead and fill out the equation. I'll go into my database, into my tables, into my products table, and I'll double-click power. Then I'll go ahead and press the divide by key, or the /, and then I'll find the footprint field that we just filled out. Now I can refer to that by using the name over here that we just gave it. Let's go ahead and put in a square bracket, type in footprint, space, SQ, meter. That'll divide it by the footprint square meter calculation that we just did a moment ago. Now when I put in the product's power right over here, Access actually added this little expression here, indicating that we could add an alias, but we had already added the alias. So I'm just going to click on this expression and delete it out. And now that I'm looking at it, maybe our alias can be a little bit more clear. So instead of power, I'm going to put in here efficiency, and then in space, and then I'm going to put power divided by SQ meter. Let's go ahead and say OK, and that'll add that down into our query. Now let's go ahead and press the Run key. Now we have our categories here, filtered to solar panels and wind harvesters. I can see the name of each product here. I can see the power here and the footprint in square feet that came straight out of our database. Let me go ahead and resize this a little bit here, and I'll resize these as well. These last two columns are the ones that we were calculating, so these values are not stored in the database anywhere. In this column, I have the converted footprint in square meters. And in this last column over here, I have the efficiency. This is the power generated per square meter. So that's how we use mathematical operators to modify the values that are stored in our database. It should be noted that these mathematical operators only work with numerical data. Access does offer some similar functionality that applies to text, and we'll take a look at those in the next movie.